Yo, it's me, it's DCEU baby, and I'm back with you for my review of the 2018 film Shazam, starring Zachary Levi, Jack Dylan Grazer, Asher Angel, Mark Strong, and is directed by David F. Sandberg. Alright, so let's talk about this, alright? Because this movie, I was iffy on it when I first heard about it. Because I knew who Shazam was. I knew him as Captain Marvel. I had a coloring book when I was a kid. And then there was the animated episodes of Justice League Unlimited that he was in. I think he was still Captain Marvel at the time. But then, Marvel took over and made their Captain Marvel, so he had to become Shazam. Which serves as a problem when you're trying to come up for a name for him. Because if he's named Shazam, and then when they asked him what his superhero name is, and he says Shazam, then he just turns back into a little kid. Because the story is, his name is Billy Batson. He's a little kid who gets these special powers, and when he says Shazam, he becomes an adult. And I knew about that going in. But my problem with this was the casting at first. Zachary Levi was cast as Shazam. Or, the Shazam part, not Billy Batson. That's Asher Angel. But Asher Angel. But if, I've known him to do serious stuff. Heroes Reborn, he's great at being serious. But I've seen him in primarily comedic roles, like Alvin Chipmunk's The Squeakquel, which for some reason he never came back to the franchise for, and Chuck, which Chuck is a good show. I wish I could find it DVDs. It's a great show. I missed that show. But anyway, when he was cast, I was like, because at the time I'm thinking, okay, DC has been very serious. Yes, they've been kind of trying to be more lighthearted with their DCEU movies. And no, just so you know, I don't count Joker as part of the DCEU. They said it's standalone, and I'm going with that. I don't even consider it a comic book movie. Okay, you know my feelings on that. I consider it not even a Joker film. Because he's not the fucking Joker. Alright, I'm not going to go into a tangent. I just, when I rank the DCEU movies, it's not going to be in there. Okay? Anyway, I lost track. So, yeah, they're on a darker path, really, because Man of Steel, Batman, Superman, darker movies. They got a little bit lighter, even Suicide Squad was a little dark. Then they got a little bit lighter with Wonder Woman, and then Justice League kind of split in half. And then we got Aquaman, which has some dark moments, especially with a scene I forgot to mention in the review, which was the Trent's scene. And, James Wan, master of horror, the master of modern horror, as they say. Great scene for him. It shows his horror prowess. And I was wanting that. One of the things I wanted out of Aquaman was, James Wan's directing. I want at least one scene of horror. So, yeah, and then this was a little harder. A little more, it seemed lighthearted, but then again, David F. Sandberg, also a horror director, was in this, so I need something. And there's a little bit of darkness to it. The first scene shows the origin of Dr. Savannah, and it's kind of a dark scene where he's in the car with his father, and he's arguing with his brother, and he gets taken by the Guardian or whatever. It's, what's his name? Is it on the thing? Djimon Hounsou, with the big old bushy beard. And the whole thing is, you are chosen, but you first must face a test by being tempted by the 7 deadly sins. And if you decide to go towards the sins, you automatically fail and you get sent back. He's sent back and it causes a car accident. We find out later his father, it led me to believe his father was dead. But really, he's in a wheelchair. And that's a dark opening. And then another scene, arguably the only true horror scene in this film, comes at in the boardroom scene, which also involves the father, by the way, played by John Glover, is that Dr. Savannah shows up and he unleashes the 7 deadly sins who murder everyone in the boardroom, including his father. And it's a dark scene. There's not really much blood because it's PG-13, but it's a dark scene. so dark that reviewers on YouTube were saying, don't show your kids this, it's too scary. Well, that depends on your kids. Depends on what your kids like. My son didn't faze him. You know, we watch old episodes of Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark? You don't get scared of that. And rewatching Goosebumps, there's some dark shit in there. Okay? Even I'm like, whoa. And my son's just like it doesn't affect him. And I think he's going to become a little horror lover once he gets a little bit older and stuff. I want to show him more. We watched part of Child's Play one time, but, you know, time constraints. But anyway, yeah, and David F. Sandberg, like I said, is a horror director. He did Lights Out. He did Annabelle Creation. He knows what he's doing. And, and that scene was great. So, like I said, Zachary Levi coming in for something that seemed dark. But when the trailer came out, I was like, okay, I see what they're doing. And then you know, and then watching the movie, Zachary Levi is perfect for this role. Because he's portrayed an adult, especially with the character of Toby and a little bit of Chuck. He can portray an adult who's childish. And that works for this role. He's great. The other kids, they're okay. And I understand this from the comic, whatever. But the foster kid aspect, I think is alright. One aspect I don't like, though, is the mom. Because it's too obvious what is happening, and it makes the character Billy Batson seem like an idiot, even though he's a smart kid. Like, the whole film, he's presented as a smart kid. He can trick cops. He can hack into the computers. He can try to find his mom. But yet, this one little fact that's painfully obvious escapes him. We were shown the backstory of Billy Batson when he was a little kid, like maybe a toddler. He got separated from his mother at a carnival and never found her. Like, never found her. Even the police couldn't find her. That is impossible. The only way the police cannot find you is if you don't want to be found, which is why it's obvious she didn't care. And another problem with this was that she claimed when she had him, she was 18. So, at the time she lost him, she would have been 20. The problem is she looked like she was 35. And even though in the previous film, Aquaman, we saw that the Warner Brothers, they can de-age all right. They did nothing but a little bit of makeup on her. Maybe it was the budget. I don't know. But you could tell, there was very little done to show that she had aged between the flashback and between what we saw. Other than maybe ruffling up her hair, make it a little bit more grayer. There was no difference. And you can't tell me she was 20 years old in the flashback to now. I'm just saying. And like I said, it's very obvious that she didn't care. She cared, but she knew she couldn't take care of him, so she didn't care to get him back. And when the cops can't even find someone, that means they don't want to be found. And for me, that's one of the biggest, in the character of Billy Batson, is that he's shown to be very smart, but yet he can't figure out that his mom didn't want him until the very end, and he accepts this foster family as his new family. Let's talk about the foster family. So, we got the two adoptive parents, whose names I don't remember, but the dad I like to refer to as Fat Aquaman because he reminds me of Jason Momoa. Even with the voice and the kind of facial features, but he's fat, you got a beard. He reminds me of Jason Momoa. There's the mom, and then there's the various kids, who's only half the names. There's Mary, who's the oldest. There's Freddy, who's the roommate and sort of best friend of Billy. There's Darla, who's the little black girl, or African-American girl, whatever. And then there's the fat Asian kid, chubby Asian kid, I don't know his name. And there's the little boy, could be Mexican, he's a chubby Mexican kid because he turns into DJ Catrona when he gets. And then there's a little Asian boy who plays video games. Is that it? I think. Because there's 6 of them all together, right? So you have Freddy, Mary, the Asian kid, the Mexican kid, and Darla. That's 5. But yeah. And, Darla's ready to welcome him, and he's like, no, because she's not accepting it first. And the only person who really accepts is Freddy, and even at first, he's a little standoffish with him. They become friends really bond once they get the powers, but I gotta call the question. And this is shown in the trailer, so it's not really a spoiler, although I don't care about spoiling stuff. When he first turns into the adult, the first, thing is, oh, we gotta get beer. Okay. My thought was, you're gonna promote beer to kids, but what they do after this really kind of, works with it. They go to get beer. One problem is, he's like, I'd like to buy some of your finest beer, please. And do they not ask for his ID? I mean, I know Zachary Levi is in his 30s, almost 40, but still. And then you have the fact that he says that, and then the lady points to where the beer is, and he walks over, and then Freddy is standing behind him. Wouldn't the person at the counter suspect that maybe he's trying to get beer for this kid? I mean, come on. I'm just saying. And then, like I said, parents could say, oh, it's trying to promote alcohol use to children. But then as soon as they take a drink, they spit it out and get energy drinks, which is not much better. But, message. But, watch, don't be a menace for that. If you want to know what that came from. Yeah, and Dr. Sivana as a villain is a great villain, but he can't stand on his own. And here's why. Without the powers of the 7 deadly sins, he's nothing. And he knows that, which is why he wants to get Shazam's power as well, because with that, he could use the Shazam power, and the 7 deadly sins can be freed, which I think is the end game, and the main end game for this, which is why they don't, because they say that the deadly sins are using him. Well, I'm not sure the whole end game of this. He just wants the power, probably because he doesn't want to be matched by anyone. I don't know. But there's a great nod to Batman in this, which I like, where they're fighting in the department store, and he picks up this big life-size Batman and says, "Get him, Batman!" and throws him at Dr. Sivana, which does nothing. There's nods to the rest of the DC universe, even though they're trying to separate themselves from that. There's a line in the post-credit scene about Aquaman talking to Fish, and he's got a bullet that supposedly hit Superman. He's got a replica batarang, and I think he wears like a Batman or Superman shirt. One of them, Freddy does. So yeah, there's nods to the rest of the DCEU, except for maybe Wonder Woman, which is kind of weird. But and yeah, let's get to the climax, because I'm ready to talk about the climax. So the climax happens at the fair, which is, fitting, seeing as that's where he lost his family, and that's where he gains that's where he lost his mother. So he lost his family, but then he gains a family there too. You know what I mean? And because when I saw this, I thought it was so ridiculous, but apparently it's comic book accurate. Okay, so how Billy gets his powers is he's contacted by Jaimin Hansu with the bushy beard, and he says, "You hold on to the staff and say my name, which is Shazam," and he says it, and they do a funny gag where he realizes that there were empty chairs meant for the rest of that Shazam's family. So he takes the staff and he tells them, "Put your hands on there and say my name." So they do, and they go, "Billy!" He's like, "No, the name I say," because he can't say it or he'll turn back. The name I say to turn into this guy, like Shazam! And they're all super-powered people. You have actors like Megan Good and Adam Brody, Ross Butler, DJ Catrona. I don't know who plays the older version of Mary, but yeah, and it's pretty cool to see them flying around and stuff, and they fight the 7 deadly sins, and they defeat the bad guy, but it's just kind of weird, and this is a weird movie, and this movie doesn't take itself too seriously, and that's where that owns it to, like, oh, they're all super powered, which, okay, sure, and then there's a messed up Santa Claus in this. Okay? Hey, you could watch this. It's a Christmas movie. You can watch it around Christmas. It's a Christmas movie. They got a Christmas tree. They got a swearing Santa Claus. It's bleaked out, but it's Christmas. You can watch this around Christmas time. It's a Christmas movie. So I should have reviewed this in December, right? Yeah, and you can tell it doesn't take itself seriously because there's a mid-credit scene where a little worm caterpillar thingy comes to talk to Dr. Sylvana. Okay? It's just weird because this movie starts off very serious, and then once Shazam is actually introduced, it gets very goofy. There's a montage where they're learning superpowers to the tune of "Don't Stop Me Now. Don't stop me cause I'm having a good time. Having a good time." I'm just like, and having just watched Bohemian Rhapsody a few days before going to see this, that was like, that was kind of cool. Because I still had the music and stuff in my head. And then, okay, that's kind of cool. But just testing out superpowers and all that. It's a fun little montage. But that's where the silliness kind of really starts. And then it just keeps on getting silly and sillier and sillier until the end. And yes, by the end of the movie, Billy is able to accept the foster family into his life, which is his character arc complete. And then, like I said, the post-credit scene is them talking about Aquaman and how Billy doesn't believe, or Shazam, whatever, doesn't believe that Aquaman's powers are any good. And they're like, well, you can talk to fish and you have a whale squash someone or something like that. He's like, oh, yeah. Doesn't take itself seriously. The one thing about post-credit scenes, though, and Marvel's guilty of this as well, is if you're going to do post-credit scenes, start it off as being serious, something to connect the rest of the films, but now they decided, do multiple ones, especially Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, where two of them are worth the continuity, are about the continuity, and the rest are gags. And lately, post-credit scenes, you have one that connects to the story, and one is just a throwaway gag. I wish they were more connected to the story than just gags, but who knows? It works, I guess. But yeah, Shazam is a pretty good movie, which cements to the fact that when I do the ranking, Justice League. Oh, Justice League. Oh boy. Anyways, for Shazam, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I really enjoy it. I was going to review this last night. It got too late. I got sleepy. And so I had to finish it this morning. So there's your excuse of why I didn't get it to you last night. So now that this is done, I got 2 more videos for the DCEU to do. And that's just one called Exploring the DCEU, which is my overall thoughts of the franchise. Going through each of the films and trying to figure out what the problems are, why it didn't work. I've sort of mentioned on it. It's been one big video, my overall comments of the franchise. And then it's the ranking. And no, I'm not going to count Birds of Prey until we get the physical media come out. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that with everything that's going on right now, but I'm just saying. But yeah, 8 out of 10. So what are your thoughts on Shazam? Let me know in the comments below. Like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.